Hey everybody, this is Jason Lewis here, and I am going to give you my full review of the Tonewinner AD-7300 version 2.0 7-channel power amplifier. I've had this amplifier for about 2.5 months, something like that. So in this review, I'm gonna go over pros and cons, how it helps your system, just overall what I think about it. You know, is it worth it? All these different things I'm gonna cover in this review. And yeah, sit tight, here we go. So this is the part where everybody has an intro. I need to pay somebody to make me a damn intro. Damn. All right, let's get some specs out the way real quick. At 4 ohms, 2 channels driven, you get 434 watts per channel. At 8 ohms, 2 channels driven, you get 266 watts per channel. And at 8 ohms, all channels driven, you get 180 watts per channel. This is this figures from 120 volts coming from the wall. So 120 volts powering this, that's what those specs. If it's 240, you might have to convert it to something else. But this is all, those specs I just read off is for 120 volts. You get as well, you get a RCA as well as XLR inputs, or balanced and unbalanced inputs in the back, and a toggle switch to switch between the two. And you get it for all 7 channels. It comes with a 15 amp power cord, and it's pretty thick too. It's pretty sturdy, pretty thick. Also, it comes with a 2-year warranty. At the time of this recording, the price of the unit is $14.99 at the time of this recording. I think it went up in price because of this damn semiconductor chip shortage. It's kind of making everything go up. It is what it is, but so that's what it is. Like I said before in my previous review, I bought mine through Summit Hi-Fi. I'm gonna say real quick, my experience with them was very positive. As I said in the unboxing and overview video earlier, which I'll link up here, it was a great experience. That's all I can say about it. It was a great experience. Summit Hi-Fi, they're not shady. So if you're thinking they're shady, they're not shady. They're actually pretty top notch. The customer service is amazing. Amir is great to fool with. If you got questions to ask him or anything like that, he's very patient. He'll answer anything. Think of it like Chick-fil-A for home theater. Yeah, at least the Chick-fil-A around here, we always get good customer service. So think of that, but for home theater. Yeah, just have a funny little comment there. And that's pretty much it for the specs right now. Let's talk about build quality for a second. You know, and I think this is very important when talking about this unit. First and foremost, the build quality, it's amazing. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's super top notch. I think it's definitely one of the better looking amplifiers out there. Everything on it, solid aluminum. There's not really a plastic piece on there except for the front face where the that houses the VU meter. Other than that, the whole thing is just solid aluminum. The connections are all gold in the back, real nice. Even the RCA inputs are nice, and the stereo outputs are kind of like got that nice little, I think it's clear plastic, looks like glass to me, but you know, clear plastic with the gold connections to it. It's very good. You know, the toggle switch isn't cheap. It doesn't feel like it's gonna break off. It's a very solid click up and down. I think you'll be very impressed with it. I know the elephant in the room where this unit is concerned. Oh, this is some cheap thing made from China. Is this some cheap Emotiva knockoff? No, it is not. Matter of fact, I think it looks better than Emotiva. I think it looks better than quite a few of them out there, which I'll get into comparisons here later in the review. But yeah, I think it's very nice. It's very, very nice. Looking at it, it's top notch. What can I say? The thing is a powerhouse. It's very balanced. It's not like front heavy like the monolith one. You know, it's very, you pick it up, pretty nice. I would say it's very comparable to an Emotiva, and I think specs wise, it's pretty close to it. But as far as how it works and everything, but I personally, this is my personal, like I said, looks are subjective. I think it's better, but the build quality is up there with some of the best of the best. You know, for the price, I think this thing is a steal, and it looks like something that probably should cost a lot more. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the build quality. So now let's get to the performance and everything else. Now let's talk about the equipment that I used in my review. My receiver is the Denon X4500H, hooked up to the power amplifier through RCA cables. My Blu-ray player, my 4K Blu-ray player is the Panasonic UB420. For streaming and gaming, I use the Xbox One X. Don't have a Series X because apparently I didn't get the line fast enough. That's another story. And they're all plugged into a Panamax M5300 PM. I guess that's a power conditioner. We don't know if it's snake oil or not, but it served me well. I've had it a very long time. Now my speakers is kind of an interesting story, especially my left, center, and right. For my speakers, I'm using Infinity Primus line. Now I've had those speakers for about 10, 11 years, something like that. It's been a while. Really, I forgot when I got them, but it's been a while. And I have the Infinity Primus for my left and right P363s. And for the center channel, see if I can lean over like that, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't, is the PC351 center channel. So they're all part of the Infinity Primus line. They have the left and right have a sensitivity of 91, and the center channel has a sensitivity of 93 dB. And my surround speakers are the Bowers & Wilkins M1. So that's what I'm using for that. Now I know you probably see in the background the SVS Prime Elevations. I'm not going to include those in the review. That's kind of a separate entity altogether, and they're not hooked to the power amplifier. I only had 7 channels, so I decided to hook my main, the 7.1 system up there. You probably can't see them in this camera, but I actually have 2 on this side, and I have 2 back here. So I got a 7.1. And I guess I gave a brief mention to my subwoofer. I've got an SVS PV16 Ultra. That doesn't really matter. It's powered by itself and just hooked up to the receiver, so not really a big deal. But I thought I'd mention that, in case somebody was wondering. Now, let's talk about it. How does it sound? Or better yet, is this thing worth it, or did it even help my sound system? I want to say MF and yes, it did. Yes, absolutely, yes. Let me get into it real quick. So I'm gonna use a movie for example, like Ready Player One, right? And I'll reference the car. If you've never seen Ready Player One, there's a car chase scene in the very beginning of the movie, or a car race scene where they're trying to get to the goal or whatever. And it's a lot of carnage and wrecks and chaos and all this type stuff, right? Now, when I used to watch it with just using my AVR, it was loud. It sounded good, but it was mostly just loud. But what I realized, well, I didn't realize until I got this thing, everything just kind of sounded like it was muffled together. Not to say that it was like mono sound or anything like that. It's just, it wasn't a whole lot of separation between the speakers. It was there. It just wasn't amazing. Now, when I hook this thing up to it, and this is after I recalibrate, I do suggest once you hook it up, you recalibrate the speakers, do Odyssey, do the whole 9 or RU or whatever, D-Rack or whatever you use to calibrate your speakers. I definitely get them calibrated before you turn that on. It's just my advice. But anyway, when I watched Ready Player One, and I turned it up to about where I normally have it, I'm like, this doesn't sound very loud. What's going on? I thought this thing makes my speakers sound loud. I thought the amplifier was supposed to make it really loud. It does make them louder, and let me explain. At first it sounded lower, but what it is that now I have more channel separation. So for example, when I'm watching Ready Player One and there's another car smashes into another car, think of real life, right? Let's say you're sitting there, maybe you're in an outside cafe and somebody gets in a car wreck right outside of you and they just bam, hit it. It doesn't bust your eardrums or whatever. You're just like, oh hell, somebody just got in a wreck. In a movie, it shakes the room and all this stuff. Well, now when they get in a car wreck and Ready Player One, I know it's computer animated, it's not real, but they make the sound effects real as possible. Now when they crash, it sounds the way it would outside. And now when they crash, I hear like all the little bolts and little, I guess there's like coins in the movie that hits the ground. I can hear all the little glass, every little thing. There's later in the race where you see King Kong, he's jumping from building to building. I could hear it all around before, but now it just really sounds like he's jumping on this building, that building. I can hear his breathing and everything. Things I just never noticed before. Everything just had different clarity. Overlord, the first scene in that movie, where the plane is crashing, you hear bullets whizzing all over the place. It's just chaos. There's like a radio broadcast right in the beginning where he's like talking. I can really hear that clear now, whereas before I couldn't. Voices I hear a lot clearer. Everything is clearer now. So Now, whereas the speakers with just the AVR, to me, everything sounded clumped together. With the Tonewinner amplifier, everything sounds. Every speaker now has its own individual job. So if this guy's shooting a gun and this guy's on a motorcycle, I hear the motorcycle and I hear the gun. I hear shell cases hit the ground. I hear the rubber scraping across the road over here. I hear everything. You know, everything that's supposed to be there. John Wick, you know, when they was in the tunnel in chapter 2, that shootout scene, which is an amazing scene in the catacombs. He shoots that shotgun and you can really hear the bullets hit the guy. It just sounds real slimy and shit. Like you just hear the blood come in and out of him and everything. And you just hear every little clack clack and every little sound, the shell case hit the ground, the boom, and even the echo reverberates through the room. You really hear a lot of different things that you never heard before. I mean, I watched various movies. Extraction's a very good. I like a lot of action movies. That's just who I am. Extraction's a very good one if you want to test like your surround sound. And that movie Tomorrow War that just came out. That one is amazing. But anyway, Extraction is a scene where they're on the bridge and they're shooting, and the guy shoots. You know, he's at an angle. I think it's what's that dude's name? Dude that played Thor. I don't know, Chris, whatever. I can't think of his name. Chris Hemsworth. There we go. And when you shoot the gun, you know, he's at an angle, you hear the bullet come out and it zips across the room. So now I just started from there all the way to here, whereas before we just kind of like, I would just hear it up there, but I didn't hear all the bullet zings or anything like that. So now all my surround speakers have come alive. So they're just as important as my front stage. Used to be the front stage with just the AVR, the front stage pretty much took over. But when I add the amplifier to it, now the front stage didn't overpower all my surrounds. Everything is equal now. And if there's something to be heard over there, I'm going to hear it. If there's a musical score coming out of the surrounds, I'm going to hear it. If I'm going to hear a guy driving next to me in a movie, or say he's riding, I'm going to hear it. Everything just has its own sound. Castlevania, even though it's animated, one thing about it, you be looking at a character and let's say there's a person that's talking to me, you'll actually hear that person behind you. It's amazing, you know, whereas you would hear that before, but now you can really hear the dialogue just come through all the different speakers. You can think of any movie that has a very good surround track to it, whether it's Dolby Atmos or DTS:X or surround, whatever surround you're thinking about, you're really going to hear it nowadays. So the number one thing you're going to notice is channel separation. Another thing that's amazing is low level listening. Like at night, like I work sometimes I work an afternoon shift, sometimes I work nights or whatever. I work an afternoon shift, and when I come home, I'm up to about 2 or 3 in the morning, and I still want to watch a little TV, or maybe I'll put a movie on or watch something on Netflix or something. You know, the wife and kids are asleep. Before, I couldn't listen to it very low because you just really couldn't hear much. You would like, oh, let me grab my headphones and put those on if I want to enjoy the movie. Now I can listen to things down like 30 dB or whatever, you know, with denim receivers. The higher you go, the lower the number. The lower you go, the higher the number. So now I can listen to it in the 40s and 30s, and I can still hear everything. You know what I compare it to? It's like when a little kid, you ever have your little daughter, so you got like a little 3 or 4 year old, and she's whispering. You know, little kids can't whisper, but they're like, hey daddy, let me tell you a secret. I hid mommy's shoes on the bed. She's gonna be really mad. You know, even though she's talking low, you can hear everything. That's where it is with low level listening at night. I can still get the rumble, I can still hear my subwoofer, I can still hear all the speakers, get all the surround feeling. I can still enjoy the movie at low levels because I can still hear everything because now my speakers have the power they need. Before, I couldn't do that. I would have to turn it up to an enjoyable level, but I would have to disturb my wife sleeping upstairs or the kids in their room, or disturb everybody in the house just so I can listen to my movie or music to an enjoyable level. Music is another one. Music is more enhanced, you know, it depends on your speakers, you know. Speakers is more dependent on that. Movies sound great. I've had those speakers 11, 12 years. They have never sounded this good. Never sounded this good. Best sounding speakers. Now, and I wanted to really hook those up to a power amplifier before I upgraded, because I just want to know what they sound like at their best. And they really came alive. So, and I say this, and the reason why I'm doing this review in this way, I know a lot of people are in the boat that I'm in, to where you're doing gradual upgrade. Because everybody ain't got like 10 grand just to drop, bam, Lord, I'm gonna get this, and that. Some people do. If you do, you're lucky. Congratulations. You know, if you're like me, you're a working man, it's like, okay, let me buy this piece by piece, or let me make payments on some of this crap, you know, and you don't have the money to maybe buy a $2,600 to $4,000 Anthem or something like that, or preamp or anything like that, and you got a good, you know, you got a good receiver with some decent pre-outs on it, and it's like, well, you know, your power amplifier, in this case the Tonewinner, it's kind of the main deal to go into the separates. And yes, it is definitely worth it. And I definitely heard a difference. And I'm hooking mine up through RCA cables, and I heard a major difference. One thing I will say about this power amplifier, I know a question that was asked before. There's when you turn it on, you know, some amplifiers you turn them on, you hear that hiss. There is no hiss that comes out of my speakers now. It could be the power conditioner. Yeah, right. I doubt that. But there's no hiss that comes out of my speakers. None, nada. If I turn it all the way up to 0 dB, I still hear no hiss. So if I turn my music on, or music or a movie on, or anything like that, it's gonna blow some shit up. But I'm not gonna hear no hiss at all. There's no hiss that comes through my speakers, and I love that for it. And the reason being is, you know, like I mentioned before in the other video, and including this one, is that this is version 2.0. The 2.0 version basically has better power delivery, so that gets rid of a lot of that hiss. That's why in another video, I think it was Barrett Spec of Tech, said something about the 5.1 version sounding better than the 7.1, the one that he reviewed. He reviewed the older 7.1 because the newer 5.1 and the newer 7.1 have the better power delivery system, and that's why you don't get as much hiss, and you get a better sound because you don't have all this electrical interference. You just hear what you hear, you know, whatever you put into it. I can't wait to buy a preamp or something like that just to really hear what this amplifier can do, and really hear what my speakers can do. Because if XLR is better than this, wow, that's all I can say. I've heard it, but I never heard it in my house. I've just kind of heard one or the other and kind of played around with it, but I've never went apples to apples with it. So I'm kind of upgrading along with everyone else. Just like I said, this review is kind of for the everyman that's trying to review slowly or trying to upgrade slowly, and thinking about buying a power amplifier. So I'll say again, even though this is a Tonewinner amplifier review, it's kind of an overall going to separates review. Should you get this one? Yes. Now, pros and cons. One thing I like about this amplifier, let me go into the pros. The pros. This is probably the major pro. The price to performance and build quality. Like I said, at the time of this video, this amplifier costs $14.99. To get equal performance, that's damn near the same thing. The only thing I find that's equal to it, because I have heard that in here, is the Emotiva XPA7. That's the 7-channel amp. That is $2,000, $20.99. About what, $600-700 difference, you know. The mono price, the 7-channel mono price monolith amp, and it's I think it's another one that's close to that, 200 watts per channel or whatever. It's like $17.29 or something like that, but it's always out of stock. And the thing about that one, it's very front heavy. It's heavier than that one, but it's very front heavy, and the connections are cheap looking. Not to say it's a bad amp, it is a good amp. But I think this is better, and I think it sounds better. It makes my stuff sound better. There's a little hiss with those. The Emotiva is about even with it, but I think it's a little bit with that. I know one of the things people are worried about is that, oh, this thing is made in China. Shit, everything's made in China. You know, oh, this thing is made in China. Is this a Chinese knockoff? Is the quality messed up? Is this thing going to just fall apart as soon as I touch it? No. The build quality on this thing is amazing. I think it's built like a tank, and it performs just as well. You are getting more for your... This is one of the few products that are out there that is worth more than what you pay for. And that's rare. You don't see that very often. And I'm going to tell you, if you're thinking about getting it while it's cheap, because the price is kind of creeping up. This chip shortage got everything going up. I was fortunate enough, actually, let me get to the cons. You know, I was fortunate enough to get mine when it was $10.99, and that was mid-May. I got in, I was lucky, you know, and then it went up $100 right after that, and it went up a little bit more after that because of the chip shortage. So get them while they're cheap. They're still much cheaper than the other ones. It's better than the base X version of Emotiva. You know, that's kind of like the budget version. Those are only hooked up through RCA. I think you only get like 100 watts a channel. You're getting damn near 200 watts a channel for $1,500. You can't beat that. And the build quality is awesome. I'm gonna get to the cons. There's really only two. One is a nitpick. The only con I can see is that when you look at the front display on there, instead of it saying, make sure I got this right, instead of it being a VU meter, it says UV on there. I think it's a bad Chinese translation. The only other con is that my dumb ass didn't buy two of them. I should have bought two. I wish I had two so I can do the 13 channel thing, hook up subwoofers and all that good stuff. That's my only regret, you know. But we'll see. I probably will buy another one here real soon. No, ain't no probably. I am going to buy another one real soon. And I think it's pretty much worth your money. So if you were thinking about it, you were on the fence, I'm not really sure. Is this some old shady cheap Chinese knockoff? No offense against China, this ain't no racist thing. No, it is not no cheap Chinese knockoff. It is not cheap at all. This is a top shelf amplifier, and you will not be disappointed. I can. That's my opinion on that. I am not disappointed in it. I'm glad I bought it. I want to buy another one. Like I said, you can get on Summit Hi-Fi USA. I'll probably link them down below. They are Amir is very nice. He will definitely hook you up. Any questions that you have about it, maybe some things I didn't cover, you know, you can definitely talk to him and ask him. And he doesn't try to upsell you on a lot of stuff. I noticed that too when I talk to him. So I'll probably buy some more things from him just because my buying experience was great with him, you know. And like I said, I'm not paid to say anything from him, nothing like that. But I thought this amplifier was impressive. And I can't wait to upgrade my front stage to really see what it can do. And I can't wait to buy a preamplifier to really see what it can do, you know, so I can hear the channel separation. Because if it's better than this, sign me up. Anyway, that's my review of the Tonewinner AD-7300 version 2.0 power amplifier. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully I didn't ramble or stutter too much. My last disclaimer I'll say about this video, the thoughts and opinions I have on this video are strictly my own. I bought this with my own money, so if this thing blew up and effed up real bad, I'm gonna be pissed the hell off, just like anybody else, because I worked hard, you know, for my money. And I took a chance and bought it, and I'm glad I did. So if you were thinking about it, go ahead and buy it. It is a badass amp. Everything is cracked up to be. The build quality is top notch. I think it's better than a lot of other amps that are out there. Unless you want to spend $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, I don't think you'll find too much better at that price point. This thing is a beast. It really is. And like I said, these are my opinions. I bought it with my own money. Nobody paid me to say this. I just thought I'd put the information out there because there's not a lot of people talking about this amplifier, and it's a damn shame too because it's really awesome. So get it while it's cheap and get it while before the popularity really goes up. You know, that's all. That's my advice to you. And maybe check out some of their other products, which I think I will as well. And as soon as I do, you'll be the first to know. Anyway, you guys take care, keep grinding, and God bless.